Welcome to KKonnections On Air, a dynamic podcast hosted by Kearn Cherry, designed to empower listeners with actionable insights and wisdom from leaders, innovators, and changemakers across the globe. Each episode features a unique blend of interviews and speaker takeover segments, providing in-depth expertise on topics such as business, networking, branding, faith, empowerment, and personal growth, just to name a few. With over 200 plus speakers featured from Kearn's events, KKonnections On Air brings you powerful voices and thought-provoking discussions that inspire personal and professional transformation. Whether you're looking to elevate your career, build your brand, or deepen your faith, this podcast delivers valuable takeaways to help you unlock new opportunities and build a lasting legacy. Welcome back to KKonnections On Air. Tonight, I have the pleasure of introducing an absolutely phenomenal guest, Lisa Nichols. Lisa is one of the world's most requested motivational speakers, a media personality, and the CEO of a global platform that has reached nearly 80 million people. She is a powerhouse of inspiration, known for helping people break through their limitations and discover their untapped talents and potential. Lisa's story is truly inspiring. From a struggle single mom on public assistance to a self-made millionaire, she's an example of what's possible when you have the courage to bet on yourself. Tonight, she'll be sharing insights on knowing when to pivot, always betting on yourself, and trusting your talent. Get ready to be inspired to make bold moves and embrace your potential.
Okay, you ready? You got your pen and paper ready? I'm gonna tell you. Okay, so now mind you, I'm disruptive. So I'm that chick where I'm all in and I stop asking for permission. Because I used to always ask for permission. I didn't verbally ask, but I was always making sure I didn't disrupt anyone. So when I got done with that, like, I'm not trying to disrupt people, but I got to do me. So just know that that's the foundation. I started paying myself. I wrote myself a check. Some of y'all know about it. I wrote myself my first check for $110, and I wrote myself a check every 2 weeks because I was loyal to pay the man. He knew he was going to get paid. I don't even know who the man is. I don't even know the man's real name, but I was paying him. I would pay the gas bill. I would pay the light bill. I would pay everything, but I never paid Lisa. So when I made a decision, I started paying myself. It was foreign to me, but I kept hearing all these people say, pay yourself first. I'm like, I don't even know what that means, but okay. So I started writing a check to myself. I wrote a check to myself every 2 weeks for 3 years. And because my mother, bless her heart, because my mother would say that the money burned her pockets, if she had $100, she was not settled until she had spent $100. Anybody know about that? Whether you do it or whether you know somebody who did it. So that's how I was raised. So Wendy, all I knew was that money was hot and I couldn't keep a lot of it because you repeat the things you learn. So I would spend all my money until I was broke again because that was my level set. Like if that's your level set, that's your comfort zone. You're going to keep doing if your comfort zone is single, you can get in a good relationship and you're going to crash it until you're single again, because that's your comfort. That's what you've called your comfort zone. And so I knew broke was my comfort zone. I don't think I've ever said that before like that. Broke wasn't comfortable, but it was my comfort zone. Does that make sense, you guys? Mm-hmm. And so I never looked at the bank statements. So the bank statements would come, you guys, I would just put them in a rubber band. If you know you don't need to know you have money so you can keep saving money, then just trick it. Just don't open it. So I never opened it. And so for 3 years, I didn't open it. So that was one thing. And I ended up in 3 years later, walking to the bank and everybody in the bank was crying because I was the lady that kept writing a check to myself. And in the memo line, I would put funding my dream. I would mail the check in because I know if I walked in, they give me the balance. I don't want to know the balance because then I'm going to go shopping. I'm gonna go to what was that? The Rainbow store. Remember I don't know the Rainbow store. I go Rainbow and spend all the money, right? I go anywhere. And so I wouldn't go into the bank and I wouldn't open the statements. That was one thing I did. The other thing I did, now we behind the black curtain, you guys. I went in environments where no one looked like me. Because I knew what we knew. I knew how we was. I want to know what y'all studying. What you studying? What are y'all studying? Let me tell you what I found. I found that, and I'm not making an absolute statement. So this is not everyone. So please don't say, Lisa, that's not me. I'm telling you now, it's not everyone, but for the most part, as Black people, we have faith and family on lock. Mm-hmm. As white people, they had health and finances on lock. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to go learn about health and finances so that I can have all four on lock. So I made it my studies on, and I knew what I was studying with them. And they would talk about money, and it would be like, no habla español. But I said, I'm gonna stay here until yo estudio español. Until I learned Spanish, I wasn't going nowhere. And so I was willing to sit in the room by myself, the only one of me, and know nothing until I knew something. So that's the other thing, is that I paid myself, and then I studied. I stayed hungry. But I went far out on the edge. I would sit with old white men who generated $1 million a month online. And I would just sit with them, and I would just listen. They go, why aren't you talking? I said, because I already know what I know. But you know. And I wasn't even ready for the internet at the time. This was 18 years ago. I wasn't even ready for the internet. But one day, the other thing I did, and this was uncomfortable. I got the haters out of my life. I evicted people. I evicted people that they were dream busters, and I loved them. And I just decided to love them from a distance. I didn't do any long speech about how I'm going somewhere and they're not. I left everybody's dignity intact. Write that down if you've taken notes. Right, leave everybody's dignity intact. But I put people on notice, and I loved from a distance. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. Some of those friendships fell away. I got cussed out a few times, but I trust my get up. I stopped trying to bring everyone along with me. I decided, let me go, be of value, come back and get you if you want to. Somebody needs to hear that, because you're trying to save other people while you're trying to give yourself oxygen. I couldn't do that. I had to learn for myself, take myself, grow myself, and then invite people when I got something to give. That's why when I met a Cheryl, when I met, Moria, when I met them, I had more to give because I went in. And so, and then the next thing I did was I studied pricing and sales. I'm naturally like, I want a ministry. I'm like a marketplace ministry. So it's natural for me, especially you got to watch out when you're the talent and you don't have to buy, like, in order for me to sell this glass, it's easy because there's a manufacturer's fee. There's a production fee. We can talk numbers, right? But it's difficult when you're selling your IP, your intellectual property. All your guilt comes in, your subjective comes in, your worthiness comes in. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Raise your hand. So I learned pricing and I learned scaling, and I made my talent a business. I have a philanthropic foundation. Over there, I give it away. Over here, it's free. When people say, Lisa, I want you to mentor me, I said, I mentor teens, I coach adults. I got very clear. When people say, oh, you can give me a discount, you're right. I have a family and friends discount. If you're in that inner circle, you're automatically going to get a family and friends discount. It won't go beneath that. And when someone make me try to feel guilty, I said, do you get value from what I do? Absolutely. Well, then it's my job to maintain the integrity so that I can be doing this 20 years from now. And write this down. I must be fiscally responsible to my company. I must be fiscally responsible to my company. My company's been in business 27 years now. We've given away millions of dollars. We've done that because I was willing to charge millions of dollars. Does that make sense, you guys? Mm-hmm. And so I found that my spirituality and my business, they were colliding because I was feeling guilty. And so I worked on that. I didn't pray. I didn't hope that went away. I didn't just try to pray it away. I worked on it. I worked on language. I worked on fee structure. I worked on it. And I work with people who understood how to speak the language of sales when it comes to you being the brand. It's not a subjective experience. It has a formula. And many times in industries, you don't know the formula. And so that was the other thing I did, Wendy. And then the last thing I did was I was willing to ask for a lot of help. I learned how to ask for help, and not just will you help me, but I learned how to give people an outline of what I need them to do, for how long I needed them to do it, even if they're volunteering, so that volunteers are more useful. I built my entire business on volunteers until Margaret came. Margaret was my first employee. I've been in business 27 years. Margaret's been with me 14 years. All that first part was on volunteerism, but I built the volunteer structure. So I help people help me by being clearer. Does that make sense, you guys? My Chicken Soup for the Soul tour 1 and 2 were all done on a volunteer basis, and both hit bestsellers list because how powerful the volunteers were. So first off, if I can say it was the thing that I wish I'd known when I was on KTLA and KJLH. So make sure you understand the power of regional media, not just national media. Everybody's chasing national media, chase regional media. Because in every national media station, there is a team of people sitting in one room watching a bunch of televisions, and they're all watching the regional TV stations. But people spend a lifetime trying to get on Dr. Phil or Steve Harvey when they're local KTLA, local regional, someone from Steve Harvey is watching that show. So I just want to say that, because we can get caught up in the Oprah and the Larry King conversation, and really there's a path to that that's really doable. What I wished I would have done is I wished I would have had a client management system in place. I was trying to save money. How many of us we spend our energy trying to save money? Well, while I may have saved a few $100s, I can guarantee you I missed a few $100,000 because I went on Oprah. Right, girl, it still hurt. I went on Oprah. I went on Larry King. I went on Good Morning America. I went on some other ones, and no way was I capturing names. I was learning. Hello. Yeah, I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know that a CRM, a client management system, was necessary and mandatory, and a opt-in page was necessary and mandatory, and I didn't know that path. And so learn the back end system while you're building the front end brand. Like while you're building that front door, that image, those words, the way you speak, that was one. I would have had a CRM, and earlier in, I would have leaned into my gift to teach people how to speak. I would have done that earlier. I would have known that that's my jam. I was all over the place, right? I was like motivating the masses, right? I was all over the place. And yet I can motivate the masses. I can transform people who want to hone their message. And I should have allowed myself. And guess what? People kept telling me that probably about 15 years ago. My colleagues, Jack Canfield and Margaret, remember my colleagues, the big boys, kept saying, no, you need to train people how to speak because you got that thing. But watch this, you guys. Raise your hand if this is your case. Because speaking came so easy to me, I minimized the value of it. I'm like, that can't be my thing, because we're supposed to suffer. It's supposed to be hard. I'm supposed to put ash across my forehead in order for it to be right. Girl, all you're going to see in the next 5 years, all you're going to see me doing is training people who want to transform lives of others, because I got it, right? That's all you're going to see me do. And so I wished I would have figured that out and stopped resisting what was my gift and my jam earlier. And I would have built a client management system earlier. I would have invested in it. Understand that season where it seems insurmountable, that season where it feels as if there's more weight on you than there's strength in your body, that season where there are more questions than there's clarity. Anybody? Yeah, I understand that season. And here's what has always been my safety net. It just kind of stops my fall. And that is a strategy. And don't strategize by yourself. So write a strategy. Success is not something that you just happenstance on. Success is not something that you get you just get it to fall in your lap. It's something consistent. Success requires a strategy. So strategy is my binky. I always have a strategy for everything because it at least allows me to forecast. It allows you not to wonder what's coming. Now, it won't be the way you wrote it, but you'll at least be in that zip code because you became intentional about it. So, and I used to just sit and write out strategy. I didn't quite know how I was going to do it, but write out a realistic strategy. Let me tell you, the danger of social media is that you're watching someone's eighth inning and you're in your first inning, and all you see is the eighth inning image. And so you begin to believe you can go from inning 1 to 8, but because no one told you about 2 through 7. And so clean your mind of so much social media. I don't call social media, you guys. I call social media business building media, revenue generating media, brand exposure media. Y'all feel me? Are you getting me? Well, I call it because social is what I do on Saturday, what I just got from doing this morning with my sister. That's my social. Social media for me has an agenda. It has, as a business owner, it has an agenda for me. And I don't use it for more than that because it can become all consuming and distracting. So right now, clear your mind so that you don't have as much noise in your space. You need to quiet and you need to plan. And you need to start with some questions. Where do I want to be in the next 3 years? Go 3 years out. Don't go 5 years out. That may be too far. Don't go a year out because that's going to happen tomorrow. Like hello. And so go 3 years out. Now, here's the thing. As entrepreneurs, we have a tendency, raise your hand if this is you, to set unrealistic goals. Come on, you guys, that we've been taught to, we set big goals and they release an endorphin for us when we're setting the goal because we momentarily see ourselves there and it feels good. And then every other moment after that, we're stressed out or we're disappointed. One or the other, you're stressed out or disappointed. So I'm going to say, set a goal in 3 years and then cut the goal in half. And let that be your 3-year goal. I know that sounds like, oh, Lisa, like you wouldn't believe my goal for this year. Every year we grow double digits. Every year our company makes at least another $2 or $3 million over what we made last year. This year, I said I want to make an additional $500,000. That's it. My leadership team said $500,000. You're kind of lightening up a little bit. I said, no, if I had $500,000, I'm celebrating. If I had $1 million, I'm great. But I'm not going to set the same goal because I'm in a new climate. It doesn't mean I don't believe in me. It means, write this down, set yourself up to win. Because if you don't win on enough of your goals, you'll stop believing in your goals. You'll stop believing in your goals and you don't even talk about it. You just either stop setting them or you stop believing in them the moment you set them because you got evidence that you can't hit your goals. Hello, you guys. Do you hear me? If you keep setting goals and not hitting them, you are going to stop setting goals. You're going to stop believing in any goal you can set. Set yourself up to win. Set a 3-year goal that you know I can do this. And then back into the goal. The 3-year goal is the macro goal. And then set 6 3-month micro wins. I'll do it again. Set a 3-year macro goal. Then have a 2-year macro goal, which leads into the 3-year goal. Then have a 1-year macro goal that leads into the 3-year goal. Each year I should be here to get me to this 3-year. And then set 90-day micro goals. What's the small win, micro wins? I call them micro wins. What's the small win that you can hit in 90 days that lets you know on the right track? Give yourself 1 year to get your website complete. I can do that in 90 days. Okay, how is that pressure working for you? Give yourself a year to get it. Year to get your website together. Give yourself 90 days to get all the pictures. Give yourself another 90 days to get all the verbal language. Give yourself another 90 days to do the beta test. Look at how generous that is, you guys. Set yourself up to win. Last thing is, when you're in tribes like this, are you nervous to ask people to be your friend or to be in an accountability community? Does that make you nervous, Rachel?
I am more introverted than extroverted. So
Okay.
yes, for sure.
So say, I'm nervous to ask for new friends.
Yes, I am nervous to ask for new friends.
I'm nervous to ask for a new circle to help me stay accountable.
I am nervous to ask a new circle to help me keep accountable.
Now, Rachel, are you ready for this? Ask for a circle to help you hit your goals. Ask for a circle to be your accountability circle. Ask for it right now. Remember I talked about power to pivot is the courage. The courage to ask for people in your tribe, in your inner circle. The courage to say, I'm lonely. The courage to say, I'm good stock. I'm worth the investment. Is if you are in the training and development industry and you were ever interested in getting certified, but instead of having a certification, you want to also have the certainty. I invite you to not invest in another certification, invest in the certainty of producing transformation in people. I'm doing a year-long program, and I'm gonna tell you something. If you have a PhD, what I've been told by my students who have a PhD that are in the class this year, it stretches beyond that for them, because I'm serious about transformation. I'm serious about what creates it and what sustains it. This industry is a wild, wild west industry, and I want to put some structure to it so you can understand it. If you're in it, you have a right to understand what it looks like and your students need. So that's our certification program. And that's an application process. Not everyone is accepted. And if you're not accepted, I don't just turn you away. I tell you what you should do on my campus to prepare for it. Does that make sense? Because it is a high level training. And if you feel like you would like me to walk you through the process of becoming a certified trainer, then Danita can support you with that as well. And then there are many other things on my campus. I'd say start with the gift that we're giving you. If neither one of those two feel good, start with the gift that we're giving you at motivatethemasses.com/power up. And the best gift you can give yourself is stay in this work. My biggest fear when people are around this work long enough, they think they don't need to do the work any longer. I stay in the work and I keep teaching the work so that I can keep doing the work. And if there's anything that my 27 years can give you, and someone said you need to tell them that you've generated $88 million in the industry. I said what's more important is that I've spent about $8 million wrong. That right there is the value for you as well. So don't get caught up on what I made. Ask me what did I learn when I spent it wrong? And so I'm in a season where I just want to teach others because I'm in a new season. I don't need to grind. Someone said in my prayer time, I heard, don't be Michael Jordan anymore, Lisa, become Phil Jackson. And many of you know that Michael Jordan has 6 rings, but Phil Jackson is his coach and his coach has 11 rings. And so, and I'm not saying that from an arrogant way, I'm saying that from a place of service. If I retire and don't pour back into other people to keep doing this work who are excited, younger, hungrier, haven't done it, then shame on me. Shame on me. And so I'm in that season. For so long, this road was lonely for me. I was the only woman in every room, y'all. I was the only person of color in the room. And I knew I was supposed to be in the room so I can hold the door open. I knew that. But it was a 15-year journey of just trying to figure me out in an environment that doesn't even look like it acknowledges me. And so the reason why, and I'm sitting there going, why did you choose the retreat and the training? And I realized the reason why is because I didn't have a place to confront the parts of me that were afraid, because I didn't have a circle that I can do it with, because I was steady trying to be the image around all these other people. And the second part was nobody in the industry would teach me what they were doing. I had to figure it out. So Kearn, thank you for acknowledging my give back. Thank you for acknowledging my show up. But I have to say this, sis, I could not speak to these beautiful souls if you weren't so courageous to keep going and to keep putting your time in. And so from one sister friend to another, from one gladiator to another, from one Arabian night to another, I'm honored to be on the planet at the exact same time as you. I've looked for you. I've prayed for you. I've prepared myself for you. So to every degree that I can serve you, the answer is yes, yes. I honor you. And with that, everyone's already doing it. You guys give my sister a round of applause.